Hello all you amazing people and welcome back to another video. I hope you're well. So I know with the Fuji system the glass is very expensive and for anyone else getting into it there are some cheaper alternatives, but I find they don't really resolve image quality that well. They can suffer badly from chromatic aberration. They can tend to typically be a bit soft and less stopped down, and in this video I want to explain why I think you should look into Canon FD glass instead. It's old glass, but it's lovely glass. You can pick up some really great bargains out there and you get exceptional image quality as well. You can spend a lot more, but all of the glass that I'm going to go over is cheap. And when I say cheap, one of the lenses I bought recently here in England was I think £35, and that's unheard of for most lenses. If you pay £35 it's normally cheap and tacky and it's not going to do any good, and the image quality is not going to be very good either. But these lenses are just stellar and I absolutely love them. So here is the first lens. This is the Canon 50mm f1.8. It's just absolutely glorious. Really nice image quality. I've had this lens for quite some time and I had it paired with my Canon M50. I found when I paired it on the Canon M50 with the adapter, I got very soft results and very mixed opinions. I thought the lens wasn't very good. As soon as I got an adapter, which is this guy right here, which is what you will need, you can pick these up really cheap. This is an unbranded thing. It's just a FD to FX adapter. You've got a little lock and open thing here. Just make sure you've got that in the right position, so when you mount it onto the lens, the aperture control will work when you turn the dial, because if you've got it just disengaged, the aperture won't work. It's just going to stay free. I don't know if it's going to show through this lens. Let's see. As I turn the aperture dial, yeah, it doesn't move at all. But when you've got the adapter mounted in the right way, I typically get this a little bit messed up. Let's see if I can get this right. And open. I think that's stopped down. Yeah, that's right. So you can see how the aperture works. So yeah, you've got to make sure that it's set in the right place right here. Otherwise, as I said, it won't work. But once you've got this all attached and you've got it mounted on your camera, it's just lovely. The focus rings on these are just super smooth and so nice and easy and have a lot of throw, and they're just absolutely glorious to use. And as for the zoom ring right here. Now, a problem I found out after getting this lens, I can't use filters with it, which is a little annoying. It does have a filter thread, but it's right the way in here, which is good for like if you're going to put UV on or a red filter or anything like that. But you can't really put anything, you know. Yeah, it doesn't really. I don't think it really. That's as far forward as it comes, and then as soon as you start to adjust the focus, then it goes back. And there's no way to expose that thread, which is awfully annoying. This lens still produces some amazing image quality, and I'll share some images that I've taken with this lens. I was in the North York moors on a really foggy day. It was absolutely magical conditions. No filters were on this. I didn't even put up a polarizing filter and just put it in front. There was no real need. I just liked the atmosphere, and the image quality from this is on par with my Fuji glass and any other lenses I've used over the years. It's just exceptional image quality. And stop it down to f11, f16, no problems with diffraction or anything, where if you're not sure what diffraction is, the diffraction is caused when you're using a small aperture. The light is deformed by hitting those aperture blades, and then image quality is lost because of the light just trying to get through, and that's what causes diffraction. People say that, you know, if you're doing landscapes and you're shooting like f22 or f32, that's how you get everything in focus, but not necessarily. You can also degrade the image quality by the aperture, but it also depends on the lens, the system and everything you use, so you've got to sort of test out the lenses. But I find this lens is fine at f11, it's fine at f4, this is a constant aperture as well throughout the zoom range, and very nice. If you are looking for wider lenses, then 35mm, that's when they start to get expensive. I haven't been able to find anyone that's cheap. I wouldn't mind a 24mm or some tilt shift lenses, so I wouldn't mind looking into those in the future. What you need to be careful of, though, when it comes to buying these lenses is fungus. These lenses typically don't get stored in ideal conditions, and they build up fungus, or they've been exposed to the elements by other photographers over the years, been put in maybe a box in someone's garage or shed, and they've just allowed to grow fungus on the elements. And if that fungus is still alive, there's a likelihood of that actually working its way through the lens to your sensor. So, and that can destroy your camera, or that will destroy your camera. And the only way to fix it is to basically replace the sensor, which is very costly. And also with fungus, it can actually show up in your images as well, depending on what element the fungus is on. If it's on the front element, not so much. If it's on towards the rear of the lens, then yes, it will. It'd be likely to show up. It'd be like little dust spots, you know. And you'll see all the like root systems and stuff. So that's something to be cautious of, and also make sure the lens isn't fogged up. If it's had moisture in it, I know some lenses have certain coatings which can perish after a certain amount of time, so be cautious of that. Other than that, front elements, I don't use UV filters. I don't use any UV filters on my lenses at all. I just find they actually cause more problems. They can create flaring. If you're unaware of what flaring is, it causes this artifact to form in your image. So you might have some like bright lights off in the distance, and then within your image you'll see lights below. Well, that's because the light from those lights in the distance has passed through the lens, gone to the rear element, protruded back forward, and then it's projected onto the rear side of the UV glass, and that's causing your lens flare, those artifacts to develop. So if you're having that problem with your lenses, I recommend taking off that UV filter, and you will notice it will disappear entirely. You won't have any of that problem. Lens manufacturers design their lenses for certain groups of glass, and as soon as you start to introduce additional layers, then you will have this problem that will occur. And front elements on lenses typically are very thick. Some of the older glass as well do have quite soft front elements, and they can be prone to scratching. These ones, no problem. I could go with my hand and stuff, and that's not going to scratch it whatsoever. If you want to clean it, bit of breath on the lens, just like I'll show you, like that, and then get a microfiber cloth and wipe it from the middle to the outside in a circular motion, and that's how you clean it. And don't worry about condensation. There was only a very small amount breathed on that, and you can see it's dissipating already. If I was to breathe on the lens for a long period of time, or I left it out in conditions where it went into different climates quickly and it would have fogged up, then that's when complications occur. But I've been doing this way for the last 2 decades and never had a problem. Another lens that I bought when I was in Australia, I've had this for over a year, and this is the Canon FD 80-200 f4L, and this is just a glorious lens. I absolutely love this. I've used this on a few outings now, and I just love the image quality from this. It does take a little bit of getting used to. One of the things is when you focus, it also turns the hood as well. So if you've got filters on there, I've used this with mist filters, polarizing filters and everything with my holder assembly. So if you were to adjust the polarizer filter to say remove reflections in part of your scene, and you were to refocus, it will shift the polarizer. That's just something to be wary of. What I tend to do when I focus is I hold the polarizer in the position that I want it to be in, and I adjust the focus with the other hand, and it's fine, there's no problem there. But this is just an absolute stellar lens. I paid, I think it was $80 for this, or $100 in Australia for it, and after buying it, I've done some research, and these sell for about $400 or $500. But there are cheaper alternatives. You don't have to buy this. If you manage to find one of these cheap, grab it. And this lens is just in an immaculate condition. It is absolutely superb. It came with the original UV filter, caps and everything, the case, which is absolutely lovely. Lenses don't come with cases like these days, do they? And this lens is from 1980, so what we're talking, 45 years old, but it's just exceptional, and it's been really well cared for. There's marks on this lens now because I've used it. When I got it, it had no marks on it whatsoever. So I've taken some really nice images with these lenses, and I recommend that you look into these as an alternative and also just for a bit of fun, because focusing with the Fuji system is super easy in manual mode. So what I typically do, you can easily see it through the viewfinder. I don't have focus peaking or anything like that, and I look at it also through the viewfinder, and I can see the focus is almost on point. I press the rear dial here, so that allows me to zoom in 100% or 50% and check the focus, and once I know the focus is done, then I take the photo. Sure, there's no stabilization, so what you do is use proper camera holding techniques and also bump up your ISO if need be. So what I typically would recommend, so say with like a 50mm focal length, which will give you about, I think it's about 75-80mm, I recommend probably shooting at about an 80th of a second. The 80 to 200, the 200mm focal length, I would recommend probably a shutter speed of about 200th of a second, and we're a little bit quicker. But it all depends on how used to shooting handheld you are, and also breathing techniques. So I will go into that right now actually, when it comes to holding a camera and stances as well. I have taken photos down to a 15th of a second, a 10th of a second handheld, and produce some really nice, crisp, sharp images. What you want to do is you don't want to use the rear display. You want to bring the camera up to your eye. You want to bring the eyepiece up to your eyebrow here. You want to press the camera into your face, not like it's going to cause pain, but you want to bring it nice and firm. You want to make sure your grip on your camera is firm as well. You don't want any movement in there as well. And you want to grab the underside of the lens or the base of the camera like so, and then bring it up, and you want to tuck your arms in like this. This will give the maximum stability. If you find you are moving around a little bit, then you can also spread your arms around a little bit like that and hold like so. So you can see it is quite firm. Also, what I find are breathing techniques is also a good thing to do. So when it comes to taking the photograph, take your time. You know, get used to it. Relax as well. Don't be all rigid and really tight in your posture, because that's going to just add additional vibrations in, and you're going to be tense. You don't want to be tense, so you want to be relaxed and at ease. And what you also want to do is you want to control your breathing. So you don't want to breathe in as you take the photograph. You want to do it as you've breathed out, because that's when you're going to be the most relaxed. So just compose your shot, get ready, breathe in, breathe out, and then sort of just hold your breath, and then take the photo. You relax, and it's just so super easy. Also, when it comes to stance, I don't know if it's going to show because my lens isn't wide enough at the moment, so I'll move the chair out. So when it comes to stance, you don't want to be like feet together like so. You want to sort of be, your one foot is going to directly in front of you, your other foot going to the side there, so that gives you a nice stable point, and then do that again as well. Also, if you can, and you've got this within your scene, be able to use trees, posts, fences, a bench, a lamp post, and lean up against it. Use that to allow you to use slower shutter speeds. If you do that right, you can get down to a half a second, sometimes a second. That's when you're really pushing it and when you're experienced enough. Don't be stressed, don't be anxious. Take your time to take the photograph. Because as I said, as soon as you rush, you're going to be in a bit of a hypertensive situation, and you're going to be shaking. If you do have like maybe Parkinson's, and you've got tremors or maybe some nerve problems, maybe have a look at using a monopod to do that, and on a little ball head, and also look at using a L bracket. So I've got an L bracket on my cameras that will allow you to go from portrait to landscape very easily, and it also adds for some better stability, especially when you're holding such a small camera. You can also use a battery grip as well. They can tend to give you a bit more support, and also good for when you're shooting vertical. Yeah, so don't use the rear display because that's just giving you 2 points of contact. You've got your hand under here and your hand above here, but that can still introduce movement. As soon as you bring it up to your eye, you're going to be a much more stable and better connection to produce sharper images at lower shutter speeds and conserve your image quality, because as soon as you start cranking that ISO, it can start to degrade the image quality. Just have a look at what is out there. You can have a look on eBay, Gumtree, local classifieds, but there are shops that sell vintage lenses. I will link to some that I know of down below. There's a really great company that I bought cameras from before. This guy right here, this is my Bronica ETR medium format film camera. This is the ETRS. I bought this from a company based here in Cornwall in England. They do have an eBay store, that's where they recommend to do all their sales through, and they're just exceptional and they look after you. They repair lenses, they repair gear, so if you need anything repaired, also hit them up. They are on Instagram, so I'll link to them as well, and they sell backs, lenses, anything you need, medium format to I don't think they sell some digital. It's mainly classic glass, classic cameras and lenses. Have a look at charity shops, but just be careful and make sure the lens works. So check the zoom ring and the focus ring are nice and smooth. They should be basically like that. They should be like butter. There shouldn't be any stiffness to it. If there is any stiffness or it looks like it's been dropped, walk away, because as soon as it's been dropped, it can cause the elements inside to not line up as well, and it will just cause image quality problems. Like it could be blurry on one side of the image and versus the other, or you just might not focus at all, and you can't really get your money back on those things typically. Just be cautious when doing so. Anyway, hope you found this video insightful. If you do have any questions or you'd like to know anything, pop it down in the comment section and I'll do my very, very best to get back to you. You've got any suggestions for other people that maybe I haven't covered in the video, because I'm sure there are things that I have missed. Please let other people know. This is a community here after all. Anyway, I'm going to head off, and I do hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye for now and take care.